Well, the NFL Combine going on this week, and in 1976, Gang Green gave a woman by the name of Connie Nicholas a unique opportunity. They promoted Connie to scout, making her the first female scout in NFL history. There wasn't much fanfare at the time, but she went on to help with some of the best drafts in New York Jets history, except for, of course, for the one that Joe Douglas had last year. Today, she goes by Connie Carberg, and we recently caught up to talk about her story, the NFL Combine, and, of course, her beloved Jets.
My father and my uncle, both the doctors Nicholas, became the two team doctors of the New York Jets. I grew up in Babylon on Long Island, and my uncle Jimmy, Dr. James Nicholas, is the one who eventually took care of Joe Namath, of course. And so once they became the team doctor for the Titans, who became the Jets, I figured I better start learning. I went to an all-girls college for 2 years, but then I decided to transfer, and I went to The Ohio State University, and that was probably the best thing I could have done. So I went there, and Woody Hayes was the legend coach there. And then I started talking to him about football, and he said, come on over to the stadium. He said, I can see you really have a love for this. And at this time, there was nothing for women. He said, but you know what? You have such a passion and knowledge of football. He said, I want you to come to every practice. We'll have it open for you. You can talk to the coaches, talk to scouts, to meet with the players, whether it's open or closed to anybody else, you're welcome. And then my father had a birthday party. Charlie Winter was there, the head coach. Started talking to him, and he said, we're building a brand new complex at Hofstra University on Long Island in Hempstead. He said, would you consider working there? I said, yes. So I was a receptionist, which I loved because in those years, back in the early 70s, most people didn't have secretaries or assistants, and they also didn't have cell phones or anything. And so it was very easy to call up somebody and you could get through to everybody, and they got to know everybody in the NFL. We used to do the game plans in the locker room. And at that time, we were having dinner, eating Chinese food. And Hal Ward and Mike Halbach said, we really like you to do scouting for us. And I went, okay, great. And it wasn't made a big deal. It wasn't like it was publicized. Thank goodness Dick Young, and when I went out to Ohio State, that they wrote up things, or probably people wouldn't know about it. Like now, when a woman gets something, it's everywhere. And the last 5 years, it's just like an avalanche of women getting jobs in football. But back then, it was really unheard of.
Tell me about some of the highlights of your scouting career. What are you most proud of?
Well, probably, is the kind of finding of Mark Gastineau. I had seen that he had a 4.55 and he was 280 pounds and 6'5", but he was from a small school, East Central Oklahoma. But when I talked to him on the phone, that he was the one. When I looked back and I said, let's get him, I went to Coach Walt Michaels. And luckily, Coach Walt Michaels believed in me.
So when it came to actual draft day and you guys getting to draft Gastineau, how'd that play out for you?
There's nothing in the world that can match draft day other than my wedding. But I mean, and my son being born and everything. But I mean, really, the draft days were just so exciting. And then when they got to the second round, we took, they said, okay, we're going to select Mark Gastineau. I was like, so I was really excited and very thrilled to be able to call that in.
Tell me, you've been watching for the last few days. What stands out to you about the current combine, this year's crop of potential draftees?
Because of the extra COVID year, the transfer portal, and because of the NILs, a lot of players went back to school that normally used to come out. So they didn't have as many younger players, unless they were superstars, coming out. And so I think this next year is going to be quite a year. I think we do need to draft offensive linemen. There's some guys, Broderick Jones, Harris Johnson. There's a few guys that are there. But of course, it always goes back to the film. Because as they say, the film never lies.
What do you say to the little girl out there who's a football fan, who doesn't see herself out there, right? Who doesn't know your story yet? That women can be involved in the game and wants to do it someday?
Well, I'd say to them right now, the door is wide open, but you have to be willing to have a great attitude, number one. To me, attitude is everything. Skills can be taught, but attitude can't. It's wide open.
So, Justin, I had to ask her about the quarterback situation for the Jets. She said she really thinks Derek Carr would thrive here in New York. She said she thinks Aaron Rodgers can too, but he only has to be here for a shorter period of time. I didn't read too much into that.
We need to cut that clip and send it to Joe Douglas. She is a gem. Phenomenal.
I mean,
with the 13th pick.
Yeah.
Pick her.
She'll give it. All right.